Hey everybody, welcome back to the Photog experience. On today's episode, it's episode 3 of the exposure. We'll get to it right after this. Welcome back. If you don't know me already, my name is Jonathan Bailey, and here on the Photog experience, I like to give you tips and tricks on how to help improve your travel photography. And one of the different ways that I like to give you tips is this right here. It's called the exposure. It is a viewer-based photo contest that you all submit your images, and basically what I do is I critique them, give you kind of some feedback to help you improve what you're already doing, and to pick an overall winner and to name the exposure winner of that episode. And the winner of that episode gets featured on all of my social media, my website, my Facebook, my Instagram, all things the Photog experience. You are headlined, and it's just a way for us to, it's a way for us content creators to gather together and to talk and share the images that we love. So if this is something you're interested in, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. I'm super excited about this episode. When I named that the theme of this episode would be sunset, I got a flood of images, and these are probably some of the best images we've had on the exposure so far. So I just want to thank you all, each and every one of you that submitted your images to this. It's been fantastic going through these images, and I can't thank you enough. Now, some of you all did submit more than the others. Some of you submitted quite a few images, but with this particular episode, since there's so many images and so many people submitted, I'm only going to do a max of 2 images per person that's submitted. Now, that doesn't say that the images that you submitted are bad or anything like that. Please don't think that. Just for time constraints and the amount of photos that we have, that's what I had to do. Now, a few things before we dive into this episode. As you can see, I have the Photog Experience shirt. I was super excited about getting this. This is one of the reasons why it took so long to do this video, is because I was waiting on my shirt to come in. I'm super excited. This is actually the first time. I'm a graphic designer, so I design shirts all the time, and this is actually the first time that I've actually ever purchased one of my own designs as a t-shirt. So it's pretty awesome. So let's dive into episode 3 of the exposure. I'm so excited. So the very first submission of episode 3 is from Megan Page. This is the first time she submitted, and her images are awesome. Now, again, I have the images on my phone, so if I look at my phone, don't be alarmed. I just need to look at these while I'm talking to you all. So this very first image was taken on a Nikon Coolpix camera. I've never really messed around with those, but I know a lot of people who do have them, and they take some pretty awesome shots, which is pretty awesome. And this image is of Mount Storm Park in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, the colors in this image is insane. Like the bright oranges and yellows and pinks and the dark blues and the purples. Like, the color for a sunset is spot on. It is fantastic. One thing cool that she let me know about is if you kind of zoom in, you can see a plane taking off out of the Cincinnati airport, and that is a nice little touch, little cool thing there. But the sun is just right behind those trees in the background, and the foreground trees are perfectly black. Like, they are a perfect silhouette. A few things I would change, though, is I would like to see less tree and more sky. I love that you're able to let the tree kind of protrude into the photo. I think that is a really awesome touch. But I think you need to basically take your phone, or take your camera, your Coolpix, and just shift it over just a little bit. That way there's less tree and more sky. But don't take the tree out completely. I think the tree really adds a lot to the photo. The way you got the sky and all of those colors is beautiful. Great shot, Megan. Thank you. So the second shot by Megan was actually taken on her iPhone XS. And this was on a cruise. This is on her way to the Bahamas. And now the colors aren't as vibrant or as bright as her last photo, but it's still a very beautiful shot. You can tell that the sun obviously is right behind those clouds, so you're not able to really get those dark deep colors just yet. Give it about another 15-20 minutes and you'll be able to do that. Just seeing the sunrise kind of pop out behind the clouds from the sun is just gorgeous. And you can see just a very faint like sun line again on the water, and that looks super cool. The only thing I would have done is make the image just a little darker to make those kind of colors and the saturation pop out a little more. But overall, like, I think this is a great shot. The sun is perfectly in the center of the frame. The horizon is basically perfectly level. It is a little wonky, so I'd fix that next time. Anytime you're shooting the horizon line, you always got to make sure it's perfectly straight, not kind of wonky. And you can do that through any editing app. I do that. Not all photographers are perfect. I do that in Instagram. You can kind of make it go up and down. But thank you, Megan. These are awesome shots. Appreciate that. So the second submission is from Daniel Donnelly. Now, both of these images were taken with his Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. That is a very long title for a phone, but that's what it is. One thing I do know about the S9s and a lot of the Galaxy phones is their low light capabilities is phenomenal, and being able to catch just the right light is awesome. Now, this very first photo is of the waves crashing, and you can definitely tell the sharpness was put up pretty high, but you can see movement in the waves. I think that is just beautiful. The colors in the sky and the colors on the sun and the light trail is just, it's gorgeous. I love just how detailed the water looks. I love seeing like the water is like almost a greenish color. So you definitely bumped up the saturation just a little bit. I would kind of watch that because you want a photo saturated, like you want the colors to pop and stand, but you don't want them to be overbearing. And also I would watch out for the sharpening. You don't want to over sharpen an image and give it like a high pass kind of look. I don't think you overdid this photo at all, but I think you did a great job. Like, I think that is a awesome photo. It is a little off center just a little bit, so when you're cropping or things like that, I would definitely look into making sure the sun is directly in the center of the image or the center of the frame, or make it kind of way off to the side. And I think it looks really awesome. So the second image by Daniel is of some sort of walkway or a dock. It looks like it's going through the ocean, and you can see the sun right there about to set. And I really love how the pathway kind of cuts into on the side of the image and goes to the horizon line. Like I said earlier before, like on Megan's, make sure that horizon line is perfectly centered. You can definitely tell it's kind of like a hazy either morning or night, because you can actually see the sun and it not blind you and it not hurt your eyes, and the path is nice and lit, so it's definitely kind of a hazy day, and it's diffusing the light coming from the sun. One thing I would have liked to have seen is you get down further onto the path and wait probably 30 to 45 more minutes and let that sun get nice and down into the water to where you get those sunset colors per se, that they're all those blues and oranges and yellows and reds, and all of those colors really come out. But overall, this is a great shot. Thank you, Daniel. So the next set of images is from Amanda Shows. She always produces some awesome photos. So this very first shot was taken on her Olympus EPL9. A mouthful. A lot of cameras and phones, they like to give very long names, but that's okay. So the Olympus EPL9, and this image was taken on the Carnival horizon. You can see it's probably the back of the ship, and the sunset, the colors are fantastic. You can tell the sun is basically almost all the way set, so that's where you get all of those really deep colors. And then what's really cool is, I don't know if she used a flash or if it's a light from the ship, is really making that umbrella stand out like crazy, and it is beautiful. Like, that is, like, it's kind of surreal looking. And if she didn't have that light, or if she didn't use that flash, then that more than likely would have been completely black. No, that would have been perfectly fine as well. Getting a good silhouette is always nice during a sunset because you get to see those colors. But having that umbrella stand out like that, I think really, really, really adds to the image. I think there's too much sky in this particular image. I think if you cropped it in just a little bit so the umbrella is more of a dominant presence in it, kind of crop it from the top right down, I think it would have been more impactful. I think the colors would have stood out more. But I love those deep blue colors in the sky. Like, it's gorgeous. Yeah, I love, like, you can see on the umbrellas in the background, the highlights on the different folds of the fabric. That is beautiful. Great shot, Amanda. Now, this next shot of hers was taken on her Canon T3, and this is on the Carnival Triumph. One thing you all know, if you know Amanda, is her and her husband love cruising, and they take amazing imagery during their cruises, and this is no exception. When you think of a sunset shot, this is basically what you get. When you think of a sunset, especially when you're on a cruise, this is what you see. You see the dark, dark, dark colors. You see the dark blue of the ocean. You see all the beautiful clouds in the sky. Like, the amount of clouds, granted, I know you don't have control over that, but the amount of clouds in the shot and the light trail on this image is awesome. Like, the color from the sun on the deep, deep, deep blue ocean is just, it's just gorgeous. I would have liked to have had this a little brighter. It is a little dark of an image, but overall it is fantastic. Thank you, Amanda, yet again. So the next set of images is from Elisandro Matias. Sorry if I completely butchered your name. Let me know in the comments below if I pronounced it wrong. I'm horrible at pronunciations when it comes to names. It's just bad. So I'm sorry. No, he didn't really tell me where he took these photos. So Elisandro, go ahead and leave those down in the comments below where you took these, so the community can kind of know, because maybe they're in your area and maybe they want to go take some photos of what you took. You never know. So this very first image is of, it looks like a lake or a water treatment plant or something like that. You can see a boat dock, you can see some kind of little boats and buoys and all that stuff all over the place, and some mountains and some trees. Now, the color in the sky is fantastic. What's really cool is you cannot see the sun at all. The sun is definitely hidden, but the clouds are perfect. The color in the clouds, the color on the water. Like, what's really eerie and what's really crazy is there's no motion on the water whatsoever. And when he sent me the information on this photo, he told me how long his exposure was, and it was about 2.5 seconds long. And so it was definitely on a tripod, definitely a longer exposure, because holding a camera for 2.5 seconds and getting a good, clean, crisp shot is super, super hard. So this is a little bit of a longer exposure than what you would normally do on a handheld photo. But the colors in this and the reflection in the water is just beautiful. The crispness of the water doing that through the long exposure is really awesome. The colors, even the colors in the buildings are super awesome. And I don't think I have any tips on this photo. Thank you, Elisandro. That's awesome. The next photo taken from Elisandro on his T7i is a beautiful sunset over the ocean, over a huge body of water. One thing I love about this photo is he captured a bird perfectly in air. Like, it is just awesome. Being able to catch anything, like earlier with Megan when she caught the plane going off in the back. Anytime you're able to catch something like that in your sunset photos, it adds that much more to the photo. One thing I would have liked to have seen or had is the sun down a little more. I mean, the colors are beautiful. You definitely bumped up the saturation to kind of get this, but I don't have any problem with that. I think that is great. But to see the sun down a little more, maybe completely behind the clouds. Now, you do have some kind of sun rays coming out behind the clouds, but it would have been awesome to have the sun down farther in the clouds and even more sun rays kind of popping out. I think what would have been really cool is having more water. There's a lot of area in the sky that you could have cropped out and added more water just by moving your camera down a little bit. But overall, that is a great shot. Thank you. So the next couple shots are from Jeannie Brock. And these are from her family vacation at Cocoa Beach. And all of these were taken on her iPhone 6. Now this very first shot, the motion in this photo, like, it makes you feel like you were there. It makes you feel like you are on the beach during a sunset, and it is amazing. One cool thing about Cocoa Beach is they do have a lot of waves there, and if you're looking into boogie boarding or body surfing or anything like that, Cocoa Beach is definitely an awesome place for you to go. And what's really cool is you can see like a layer of clouds. It looks like it was a really cloudy day, but the sun just came down from the clouds perfectly to where you can get that awesome sunset. Man, that's gorgeous. Like, you can see the white in the water, you can see the color in the water, you can see the reflection of the sun on the sand. Beautiful, beautiful shot. Only thing I would have liked to have seen is maybe wait about 15 more minutes to where the sun is further down, to where it makes the sky a little darker. That's really going to make the colors pop when you're taking a sunset shot. And making sure that sunset is either directly right in the middle of the frame or way off to the side. The sunset is a little off, kind of too much to the right of the frame. But overall, this is a great, great shot. Next, you can definitely see, one thing I love about your images, Jeannie, is the texture and the movement that you get. This reminds me of photos that you've submitted previous with the hearts. I thought those were super, super cool. I was just waiting for a heart in this particular one. That would have been kind of cool to see. Now what I see here is the horizon line is a little wonky, so a rule of thumb, like I've said a few times before, whenever you're shooting a horizon side, make sure it is nice and level. If you have a hard time getting things level when you're shooting any kind of editing app, if you're using your phone, you can straighten that up right away with no problems. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is the sun is kind of cut off. I know you wanted your focus to be the water and to be the sand and the reflection and things like that, and I think you did amazing with that. Like, you can see the movement, you can see the white in the water and and you can see the reflection in the sand, and it's gorgeous. But I think if you're going to cut off the sun like that, you need something kind of in the foreground to help tell a story, not just the sunset. So maybe like footprints or the heart like you've done before. That would have been really awesome to see. But overall, this is a great shot. Thank you, Jeannie. So this next shot is from Ronnie Stokes, and this is off of the Carnival Ecstasy, and this is taken with an iPhone 5S. And what's really cool is you can see some sort of either island or ship or something kind of in the background. You can definitely tell this is taken from a dining room on a cruise ship, because you can see like the chandelier lighting and things like that in the reflection, and you can definitely tell it is through a window. My suggestion is, when you're trying to do, granted I know you were probably at dinner or something like that, but when you're trying to shoot a photo of the sunset while on a cruise, try to be on one of the top decks to where you can get kind of over the banister and you don't see any of the banister. You don't have to worry about the glass or anything like that. You don't get the reflections and whatnot. But the color in the sky is beautiful. I definitely think there could have been more color in the sky, but I think the color in the sky is awesome. And also you can see on the left side of your frame, you can see like kind of some of the ship, like side of the ship or whatever that is. I would go ahead and try to just move your phone over just a tiny bit to where you don't get that, so that's not kind of impeding on the shot, because I don't think it's adding anything. So just kind of nip it, kind of move your phone over just a little bit, and I think you'll love how much that improves your images. So thank you, Ronnie. So the next group of shots is from Mike Lovelace, And this shot that he sent in, it's from his iPhone 5, and it's literally just in his front yard. So no matter where you're at, no matter what your equipment is, you can take photos at basically any time during the day, during your vacation, and just always shoot. And that's one thing amazing about being a photographer. That is one thing that anybody really can do, is go outside with your phone or with any kind of camera that you have, go outside and just shoot. And in this particular instance with Mike, it was literally in his front yard. This sunset, the colors in this is insane. Like, there are so many different colors of purple and pink and orange and all of that stuff in this photo. Like, it's beautiful. Some things I would have liked to have seen is an adjustment of your frame somehow. Like, all of the trees. Like, I think if you would have put the big tree that's kind of in the middle on the left side of the frame, and let the tree that's on the right side of the frame kind of more in the shot, so you get more of a silhouette, more of a black foreground, the trees and whatnot, and really get to see the color and really get to get a huge contrast. Like, I know you're already getting a contrast with this particular image, but I think the void or negative space on the left hand side is just too much. So I think just moving it just a little bit to where that main tree that's kind of in the middle is kind of like the left part of the frame, and the other tree, the bigger tree that's in the right frame, fills more in the right frame. But the colors and the clouds in this shot is gorgeous. Like, and like as you go further down into the trees, you can see the oranges and you can see the reds, and like the clouds, and like the looks like a grassy area, maybe some hills are basically pitch black. Like, it's beautiful. Thank you, Mike, for that. So this next shot by Mike is actually taken in the northern part of the Grand Canyon, and this is taken on his T2i, and this is awesome. Now, you don't necessarily see the sun actually setting or anything like that, but you get the color splash from it on these rocks. Now, these particular rocks, they have color to them already within the Grand Canyon, but the sunset really makes out, really makes the colors pop in these rocks. Like, it is beautiful. One of the things that I would love to have seen with this is a little more contrast. Make sure those shadows are nice and dark. One amazing thing about sunset photos is that you're able to get that contrast when you're taking photos during the sunset. So that's what I would have done. I would have given a little more contrast, so the background, the further part of the Grand Canyon would have been kind of darker, so those colors would have popped even more. They would have been more vibrant and things like that. I wouldn't have added any more saturation. I think that would have made it look too cartoony. Definitely work on the contrast with this, but overall that is a great shot. So this next shot is from Ann Boyce, and this is with her Samsung Galaxy S6. Another long name. Thank you, Samsung. And the light cast from the sun onto the loungers is awesome. Like, that is super cool. One thing I would like to have seen is a little more color. There isn't a lot of sunset color in there, like those oranges and those different colors of blues and purples and reds and things like that. You have some of it, but not a lot of it. So when you're taking sunset photos, I'd really look into getting those. Now, what's really cool is I love the highlight on the banister. It is super bright and super predominant, but it is gorgeous. Like, the clouds are doing a great job with diffusing the sun. It's not blowing anything out except for that one part of the banister. I think framing wise, you could have taken away a little more of the sky. I know that is the main part of a sunset, but you could have taken a little more of the sky away, and either stand up just a little bit and raise your phone up just a little bit, so you still get the banister and you still get the loungers, but you get more of the water and kind of less of the sky in this particular instance. Now, also, like I've said before, and with sunset shots or anything with a horizon is make sure that horizon is perfectly straight. It may make things look a little wonky sometimes, but rule of thumb, straight horizon. But thank you, Anne. Appreciate that. Great image. So this next image is from the winner of episode 2, Kevin Simmons. And now this particular image, he is actually at Cadillac Ranch. This is something that I've always wanted to go and take photos of. I think it'd be an amazing photo opportunity. Like, I think it's going to be the images and things like that, as you can see, is really, really, really cool. Now, one thing with this particular image, you don't see a lot of the sunset colors. You do see kind of oranges and yellows, but you don't really get that full sunset feel. Like, I think if you would have waited another 15-20 minutes, if you had the time to wait, I definitely would have waited for the sun to go down just a little more to really get those sunset colors in. You can definitely tell it was a kind of a cloudy day, so it's going to diffuse the colors a little bit. It's going to diffuse the light, so it's going to make it act just a little different. And one thing I would have liked to have seen is the cars positioned a different way. Obviously, you can't move the cars, so you have to move yourself. So it would have been cool to get down a little farther and kind of shoot where one of the Cadillacs takes up almost the entire left side of the frame. And also, one thing I don't like is you can see a person in there. Granted, I know it's hard. That is a big, huge tourist attraction, and it's hard to do that. It's hard to get photos with people not in it, especially with a tourist area like this. But that's something to watch out too, is always watch out for your surroundings. Always watch out for people when you're taking photos and things like that, so you don't have to go in and edit them. You don't have to go in and crop them out and things like that. But overall, this is a great shot. So the winner of episode 3 of the exposure is Elisandro. Like, this photo is amazing. Whenever you think of a sunset over the ocean or things like that, this is what you picture in your mind. You get the beautiful colors in the water, you get the beautiful colors in the sky, you get the sun rays kind of peeking out of the clouds, and like, it's just all of the different layers for a sunset is there with the added bird in the shot. Like, it adds the icing on the cake. So I want to thank you, Elisandro, for submitting this. This is the first time that he has submitted to the exposure, so I'm super excited for him, and I'm super excited to share this photo with you all because it is beautiful. Don't forget, the comment section below is going to be open for you all to pick your fan favorite. So go ahead, if you need to, go ahead and pause the video, look at each one of the photos single-handedly so you can really see all the different photos that were submitted. And there's more photos that I did not show on this episode, and I want to say sorry that I was not able to present all of the different photos that were given to me, but these were the best photos that were submitted. I just want to thank you all for this opportunity to bring the exposure to you all and to give an opportunity for us together as photographers, as travelers, to share our work and to share our photos and to share our stories with everybody. So I just want to thank you, and I can't wait for episode 4. Be on the lookout. Make sure you go over to our Facebook page and be on the lookout for the poll for episode 4. You all have a good night.